Okay, we are now on the air. All right, well, welcome everyone to our first Blab. Concept of this Blab is to help businesses, small businesses, anyone in business, growth hack their sales. We don't have to do things that are slow to grow sales. We can actually do some things that are pretty fast to grow sales. So we're going to sort of pick a topic each week and sort of try to relate that to numerous different businesses and business types. We'll always have different experts coming in. Today we have Matthew and I who sort of conceived of this. Myself, I'm the owner of Small Business Dream and InternetNextStep.com. Small Business Dream is a simple CRM tool for small businesses use that you can use to employ a lot of our techniques. Matthew is actually an absolute sales guru, and he teaches great big large groups of people how to sell better. So you can't have anyone better than Matthew to start telling you that your follow-up's not good enough or your something's not good enough, and here's how we can fix it. And then we have Craig, who's been a good friend of mine for ages. He's the VP of sales of an anti-aging skincare company, vast MLM experience. So yes, I know I said it, MLM, but we're about growing sales of business. So yes, we will also cover how it relates to the MLM business when we have MLM experts on. Small business, restaurants, hair salons, real estate agents. It's just about helping give you techniques that you can apply to pretty much any business. So I think what we'll do first is we'll let Matthew actually do a little bit of a self-introduction and share a bit about what he does, and then we'll move on to Craig.
Okay, great. Well, thanks, Dennis. Nice to meet you, Craig. My background over the last 20 years has essentially just been a frontline salesperson. I started off working the phones for a stock trading company, and from there started my own company at the age of 22, and I've been totally unemployable since, seeing as I've been, have pretty strong opinions in regards to sales. So that's what I've been doing. I've sold over $100 million worth of products, services, everything from real estate to computer consulting services with large corporates, all the way down to taking a florist to actually be making some money. So that's essentially what I do. I'm very much a student of the sales process. I absolutely love to get in and work with businesses. So that's what I do. I think this is a great idea to do these blabs, so to actually see if we can unpack a lot of the knowledge that's out there and things like that. I've got no idea what's going on. I can see bubbles over the corner here, and that's all very confusing. So I'm sure you guys will be kind to me for my first blab.
Absolutely. And what's going on is those are props. Those are people saying that they like what you're saying or shamelessly promoting their logo like this.
Got it.
So I might not actually like what you say at all, but if it's my logo, I may just click on that a few times to make people see it. So Craig, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you can sort of assist us in helping people with their general sales issues, or how to get better at sales and how to growth hack it. Don't do it slow. Let's do it fast.
Well, I mean, we met just over 20 years ago there, Dennis, and we did meet in the multi-level marketing industry. But I've had a lot of sales experience. I've been on stage most of my life as a professional magician, clown, also a school teacher, owned a magic shop. So, we do sales all our lives. And, I guess, I have my own small business. I like to say I owned it, but I think it really owned me. And for the past 20 years, I've been fortunate enough, I guess, kind of like you, Matt, being unemployable. Once you become your own boss, it's really hard to work a 9 to 5 again. Just recently, I decided to join a company here in Vancouver and help them open up North American market. And we use the MLM version of Small Business Dream called Hour a Day, which so I'm very familiar with the Small Business Dream app. Fantastic app because they're almost identical, except Small Business Dream gets rid of all the MLM lingo and all the stuff that we use in network marketing, and allows you to be able to increase the sales and get in touch with your contacts and your customers. And that's what I love about the app. It's instant access to be able to reach out through social media and through emails to everybody. You got a slow day in your restaurant, and you've got 400 or 500 of your customers signed up onto your Small Business Dream app. Imagine with a push of a button, make a quick little email or a direct message on Twitter or through Facebook and connect with them and be able to say, hey, we got first 20 people that come in today and get dinner, get a free beer.
Exactly. And, that segues perfectly into what our Matthew and I were discussing, what sort of the focus of the call today is going to be. And we decided the focus is going to be follow-up. And that doesn't just mean follow-up is in picking up the phone and following up, but sort of all the various ways you can follow up based upon the industry you're in. But first, I just want to let Matthew, because I know he's just busting to say something about follow-up. Matthew, fill us in on just how important follow-up is and how much of it you need to do and why so many people fail at sales and what we can do about it.
Well, the first thing that most people fail in follow-up is they don't do enough of it. They don't add value. They find themselves, oh, well, I've made the phone call. They said, oh, yeah, no, maybe, whatever. And that's it. And it just totally blows my mind when I walk into a business and say, show me your lead list, show me your conversion rates, all of those sort of things. And they say, oh, well, we tried this person. They said maybe, or they said not now. And I said, okay, great. So what have you done next? Well, they said not now. So I've not done anything. What do you mean? So of course there's some really interesting statistics out there that everybody can find online. Things like the most effective number of calls to make in a B2B environment, or even a high ticket B2C environment, is between 5 and 9. The number is 7. So you've actually got to make 7 calls in 7 attempts. And also one of my things that I but I train every one of my clients to work with is if you're having challenges following up, it's probably because you left the last call in a weak and unclear position. You haven't summarized the call, you haven't done the work, you haven't agreed on what's going to happen in the next period between this call and this call, what's going to occur, then you can start again. And of course, this is such a huge subject for me because I've done most of my work as inside sales teams, working with, up to 100 salespeople, and they're calling up saying, hi, did you receive the mail? Or how did you get this? And that just blows my mind. I said, well, you don't work for the post office. You don't work for the ISP. Why do you give a crap that your information has arrived? You want to, so we immediately changed the phrasing of the follow-up call, to be along the lines of, hi. So I'm just watching his bubbles again. I'll get there in a minute. I would like to continue our conversation, or let's review. And that immediately puts them back in the position where they are thinking about the last conversation, which there were direct and measurable things for everybody to do, the client to do and you to do. So I've worked mainly in the corporate space and in larger sales teams, inside sales teams, and that follow-up stuff is really important. If you don't have a functional sales system to be able to measure the number of times you followed up and your reps have followed up, you don't have notes, you're going to find yourself in a position where you're looking at your notes or you're looking at your call list of the day and you're going, how do I add value? What's to say? Because the weakest thing you can call up and say is, hi, how you going?
You ready to buy yet?
Pardon?
Hi, are you ready to buy yet?
Are you ready to buy yet?
What you need to do, Matt, we're getting feedback, Matt, because you're got your volume a little bit too high, and so you need to turn your speakers down a little bit. So if the speakers are down, we won't hear Dennis and me getting a bunch of reverb when we're talking. Otherwise, I have to mute you when we chat.
Is that better?
Much better. Now we're not getting reverb. There you go.
All right,
just a little thing about blab. That's why Dennis has me here on the side. That's right. He doesn't know anything, just because I've done a few blabs.
Okay,
well, I know, interestingly enough, I mean, as Matthew talks about 7 follow-ups and that in the sort of corporate sort of sales focused company that is doing it all by telephone. I mean, Craig, you've had some experience where, the 7 phone calls may be good, but then actually when you start adding social media, you actually end up adding a whole bunch more touches. So we think that social media and emails are making it easier to sell, and maybe they are, but the reality is I think Matthew's 100% right in that the 7 phone calls are still necessary. But now you can add another 7 touches in the middle by social media posting, hey, check out my blog, check out this. And more importantly, another thing I loved about what Matthew said was, what value am I creating for this phone call? I'm following up, and I ultimately want to know, are you ready to buy yet? But what value am I giving the guy for my time on the phone? And Craig, in the MLM world, you've come up with some really great techniques to give value to people even if they're not ready yet. So maybe you can share a bit about all the extra touches you do in your industry, and the value that you add to some of those touches to get people to engage with you.
Well, the great thing, Dennis, about Blab is that it's powered by Twitter, and Twitter isn't really convenient to be able to sort your contacts and to be able to have a simple way of automatically following up. Yeah, there's some automated systems out there, but when you get an automated direct message from somebody, you typically ignore it. Typically that automated message is, "Hey, thanks for following me. Now go follow me on Facebook, be friends with me on Facebook." And something stupid like that. I connected with you on Twitter. That's the medium I want to use. And now you want me to go to another medium to go and connect with you. So what I love about Salesperson Dream is that it's semi-automated follow-up. So it lets you know by when you log into your small business Dream, you're able to access your Twitter account. There's a whole Twitter feed. And then you've got semi-automation that allows you to see what you want to say in your message, but add, "Hey, I just went to your website. You know what? Those pizzas look fantastic. Your new place looks great." And add some personal touches to what that email is going to say. Because when I get a direct message that has a personal touch, it says, "Hey, I saw it. I was taking a look at that photo of you and your grandson. He looks really great." They took the time to find out more about me. That opened up me wanting to connect with them so much more than just somebody having a robot saying, "Thank you for following me. Please go and now like me on Facebook." It makes so good.
I had the best one ever yesterday. I got an auto response that said, "Oh, if you'd like to make a real connection, message me back by Crowdfire."
Yeah, right.
And I went, "Oh, so you want me to make a real connection with a robot?" I mean, maybe in 25 years they'll look better than they do now, but robots just aren't my thing.
And Dennis, I also had the ability to use a small business Dream in its infancy stage when I helped in the family business in a carpet store, and implemented that for a sales force, and it worked really well. When the problem that the company was having was follow up, especially in the flooring business. Somebody leaves the store and didn't buy, they're going to go to 2 or 3 other stores. And by putting them into the follow-up series through Small Business Dream, I was able to start connecting and touching with them as soon as they left. As soon as I put them into the series, they'd be in their car. And if their emails go to their smartphone as they're leaving or in another store, they're getting an email from me thanking them for coming in, value them as a client. Here is my hours. Here's the days that I work and the days that I'm off. If I'm off, please talk to this person if you come back. And it would follow up for up to a month. And it typically was around the 2-week mark, around 4 or 5 emails and maybe a phone call in between, that somebody would come back into the store without me even knowing and saying, "Who's the guy sending me the emails? I'm ready to buy." And that was all automated, but I purposely made the emails look like I had just done them. I had spelling mistakes. I had typos in them. I made them, there was no HTML. It was just like a simple, "Hey, Fred, how's it going?" And put slang in it, like we were typing a real email, because that's what you're going to respond to.
Well, now I have to bust you just a little bit because it ties back to our whole concept of follow-up. And I can remember saying to you, "Craig, you really should put a 3-month and a 6-month follow-up into your series." And you're like, "Nah, it's the carpet business. Nobody follows up that long. If they haven't bought in 2 months, they're a dead prospect." And I'm like, "Well, dude, it doesn't cost any money to add a couple more emails. Do it." And then you sold a $14,000 job 6 months later because the emails went out. So follow-up, my goodness gracious, if you've got a tool to assist you with it, at least let a bad prospect fall off to perpetual automation that's not even semi-automated. But of course, you're using semi-automation with your hotter people's better. But that was a prime example of an extra 10 minutes to add a 6-month follow-up, and boom, it paid your rent.
And in your case, with the when you're using for software, you're following up a year or 2 years or even 3 years later when it comes to MLM software that you sell, and you've had clients come in and say, "You know what? You're the only one that followed up."
That's right. Sorry, yeah. Matthew, you had something to say.
Just in regards to follow-up, and especially on email and keep in contact with your database, I use a sales automation process. And all I do, I have a database that's I've been growing for 15 years. I haven't really added new people to it because I've moved on to other databases, but I've been hitting this one database. Haven't added new people to it since October 2012. But I've been emailing them once a month with a demonstration or a webinar or whatever it is, see if I'm going to add value. Certainly demonstrating my product, certainly showing them things, but wrapped around how we help others. And I've been on average between $40,000 to $60,000 a month worth of sales from doing 2 emails, 3 emails, 1 webinar a month, and then of course follow-up phone calls, people that show up to the webinar. I then follow those people up. What did you like about the webinar? How can we do it better? I just wanted to continue the conversation on. You mentioned in the webinar this, that, and the other. And it takes about a day a week for me to actually continue to make and have that money rolling in through one of my businesses. So, it's a very automated system, and it's just about setting the diary out. And of course, with Salesforce automation, with Small Business Dream, that takes it to a whole new level. So look, I couldn't agree more in regards to emailing. Even the most dead databases. Person that bought from me last month says, "Hey Matt, I've been looking at you guys for 9 years." So because they literally said to me 9 years ago, "Oh, I'll look at this when this happens," and I haven't gone, "Oh well, get away."
Heck with you.
The heck with you. I've got better things to do. But it just sits in the email. I can write 1 email, it sends out, and we're good. These people just come along when they're ready to go.
Yeah, and just for full disclosure, we're not here just to ram Small Business Dream down everyone's throat. I mean, I know, Matthew, you use Infusionsoft and a couple of other tools. There's a ton of really, really, really great sales automation tools out there. My recommendation is I don't care who you are or what business you're in, go get one of them. If Small Business Dream works for you, then we'd be happy to have you as a customer. If Infusionsoft's a better fit, do that. If Salesforce Automation's a better fit, then you need to do that. We're not about selling you that. Small Business Dream has its niche, and that's for all of the companies that aren't quite ready for the complexity or cost of Infusionsoft, which most small businesses call Confusionsoft, or Salesforce, which means you need a whole force of people. Oh, no, you need to force people to use it. Yeah, Salesforce.com means you need to force people to use it. These are the two things I hear the most.
When we're implementing Salesforce across our team, we had to install it. We had to do massive amounts of customization, and we literally spent $80,000. Not just buying the product, that's not the actual cost of the product, but 80 grand modifying it and training it to our staff. So it was a reasonably large installation. And by the way, I use Salesforce automation, not to mention Salesforce, the product, but actually as a category of what Small Business Dream does, which is automating things that occur in the Salesforce. I was using it as a category rather than a product.
I understand, but I don't, because this is our first one, I don't want it to need to take on the flavor where we're worried about mentioning what we do. We're giving free information to help anyone's sales growth hack their sales, but it's okay for you to talk about your training and what you do when appropriate, and also to mention the tools you use. I mean, I have no problem my tool getting put up against the others and people picking the right one. So the world's a big place, and we're just about helping small businesses make more money. So we help them to semi-automate and automate their follow-up, and we know that that's one of the very first things you can do to really, really significantly increase your sales. So actually, let's talk about that for a second. If I talk to a restaurant and I say, "Man, you need to follow up with your customers," do you know what most of them say to me? "What are you talking about? How do you follow up with your customers?" Well, it's not even that. They don't even know. They're like, "No, I don't need to follow up. I'm a restaurant. I don't phone my customers to follow up." Follow up in a restaurant. Yeah, that's right. Follow up in a restaurant situation is really collect your data. And again, restaurants argue with why they should do that, yet the ones that are killing it in the restaurant business all have a database of their customers. They've got a newsletter. They offer specials. They do all these simple techniques. But I mean, follow-up can be as simple as that. Hey, I've got my clients to join my newsletter, which means now I give them value in my newsletter all the time, so they're always remembering me. Maybe there's a coupon attached. Maybe there's a new menu item attached. Maybe there's a 2-for-1 dry cleaning special attached because I'm a dry cleaner. I can think of 100 things to help your florist client right off the top of my head.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, I mean, follow-up applies to any business. And if anyone's on the line right now and they want to just sort of say, "Hey, I'm in this kind of business, tell me how follow-up might help me," we'd be more than happy to jump on and have all of us give you our thoughts about your business and how you might be able to do better follow-up.
That'd be great. I'm very happy to do that. And one of the things that I build into my sales training is scripting. And people go, oh, we don't want to sound canned. Well, that's a bad script if it sounds canned. So, and you haven't practiced it enough. So, I'm very happy to give exact wording for people to actually to get their point across, because I've done it in a whole range of industries.
I was told once a long time ago that a script is only a script until you've said it 10 times, and then it's your words.
Hey, De Niro's not won an Oscar without a script.
That's right. Yeah, good point.
Dude's getting paid $20 million for a movie, which takes 3 months, and he can go, the Seychelles for the rest of the time. He's got a script. And he's not like, I'm too good to have a script.
I love it. Never heard. I'm stealing that. Just so you know, full disclosure, that's now mine. I will be.
It's not mine either. It's in the 20 years, and I also, as part of a salesperson's, as part of my discipline on a daily basis, I actually do sales training for 1 hour a day, every single day, because I know at the end of the year I'm going to be about 250 hours of sales training better off than I was at the beginning of the year, and so all of this stuff goes in and stuff comes out. So that's so there's a lot of stuff that and nothing's new under the sun. I mean, if you read a sales book from the 1930s, 1920s, you read Og Mandino's Greatest Salesman in the World. There's nothing new there. It's just being able to position it and use the right lead funnels to actually get people into speak to, sell to people that actually fit your product.
I totally agree. So Craig, what are your? I mean, you're doing some unique stuff with adding value, and I can see the same thing going. So rather than me steal your thunder on how you use your giveaways to sort of create some energy, because we could do the same thing in anyone who's selling B2B. Can you sort of explain that process of how you sort of offer free goodies and free value to people to allow them, even if they're not interested right now in what you do, to become your good friend and therefore move on to possibly doing business with you in the future when the timing's right?
Well, Dennis, I guess I got greedy. Really, you were offering on one of our sessions a free 30-day trial, and you put up a website that somebody could go in and get a free 30-day trial, the hour a day. And so same thing with Small Business Dream. It's $29.99 a month. It's $300 for the year. You were offering a free trial. So with somebody that was already engaged in another business, so they weren't looking to join my company because they were already happy with the company they were with, instead of me now trying to push, sell, and convince them why they should quit their company and join me, they're already happy. Why would I want to go and try to make them unhappy in their business? And I never get into the you show me yours, I'll show you mine routine. So I just literally say, look, hey, why don't you go and check this out? Here's a great little app that I use. I'm paying $29.99 a month for it. But right now he's got a free trial. Go to this website. And if you jump into one of his trainings that he does on Tuesdays or Wednesdays and you direct message him, he'll give you an extra 30 days for free. That's a $60 value. I have absolutely nothing invested in it. I don't get paid to tell you about it. I'm doing it as a friend to say, hey, you might like it, and I'm giving you a $60 value. Now, I know in my industry in MLM, when income drops, belief drops. And when I tell somebody, I know you're already focused on what you're doing and you're making lots of money, so I'm not going to tell you about what I'm doing, they typically come back, well, what are you doing? And don't prejudge. And maybe I am open. And when I don't tell them about it, then they're interested. As soon as you start vomiting information all over about what you're doing, they turn off and they're not interested. When you're that one guy that they remember, that gave them value, that offered them something for nothing, that gave them something to help them build their team, and for some reason down the road their team isn't growing the way they want, or something happens to their company or their business, and they're looking, guess who they're going to look to talk to? They're going to want to talk to somebody like me that gave them good value. That's how I use it.
Awesome. So now what I want to do is I want to put Matthew on the spot. We're going to test his sales skills. And Matthew, the concept of using Small Business Dream giveaway, the free trial, or any other software that offers a free trial, this is a technique that anyone in B2B could use. So can you now try to explain how you might adapt that concept into your follow-up for the value add that you were talking about earlier that's so important? So now you're not just pitching your thing, but maybe something else. Can you give us the business world's equivalent to Craig's technique?
Well, the business world equivalent might be you actually understand what their needs and desires. And so it becomes, rather than a pitch, it becomes a prescription. And so that's how I like to add value to people. You go, from what I understand, ABC Corp does this, and this. You've got these sort of challenges, And what I've seen in the business world is a product like Small Business Stream. I was talking to a client. Actually, I did recommend Small Business Stream to a client because they are small, but they're a professional organization doing consulting. And so they go out to every networking event. They literally would go to an opening event of an envelope. They will show up to everything. And so but then she comes home with a stack of business cards like this. I said, well, so then how long does it take? And so, using the app, it's done. It gets that out there. And of course, that immediately, what I said to her, saves volumes of time, because the prescription was, how much time does it take you to transcribe those cards and make a connection? X time. Well, if I could show you a way where I could save you that amount of time and have you look more professional, would that be of interest? Yes. There it is.
There you go. Yeah.
So that's how I've actually moved people towards a product like Small Business Stream, or really anything, like any free trial. A free trial is of no value unless it actually represents value. It's only value if the client thinks it's actually a value. I can get a free, you can go online and get sales training from, you go on YouTube and watch Brian Tracy and all that sort of stuff. Why do people pay me $25,000 a year to go into their business and do sales training? Because I can actually add real value to their business. And so that's the difference, is actually being able to give a crap. And so I'm trying to keep this not too sales boiler roomy, but actually I actually care. And the salespeople, if they come across like they actually care and they're working together with the client, adding value and then offering a free trial. Hey, this, that, and the other, here's your free trial. I've been able to arrange a free trial for you. That's a nice way of putting it. Yes. Or the deal I've currently got is you can have a free trial. And I'll also disclose when there's a comment forming. And I did with these guys. Look, hey, if you sign up with Small Business Stream using my username, I get a kickback. And I'm totally okay with that because it's an amazing product. And I would only sell something that I use and recommend. And I use Small Business for when I do networking events. I can't go to Infusionsoft and say, oh, look, just excuse me, I need to go and type this into an enormous form, which is going to grind away. No, that's not efficient. So anyway, so look, I've got all the CRMs in various businesses. I've got 3 different ones, and so it's all about adding value. That's where I come from every time. And you can always find value if your business, if you actually have a belief system based in your business where you go, you know what, I know this person will be better off using my product, then you won't have an issue following up, which is the theme of today. Because, right. Oh, well, I feel icky following up. I feel weird making a cold call. Well, then you don't really believe. If you had the cure to a disease, if you were a doctor and you understood the client's needs and you go, you need to take this pill, and the guy's like, no, I'm not too sure. Can I think about it? Well, then first of all, you haven't asked enough questions and you haven't actually understood what the person's real needs are. But it's actually about developing a relationship first and then going, from my understanding of your product, this is how I'd like to add value.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think I've started to notice as Craig's been doing this, and as I'm doing a lot of networking events in Vancouver for Small Business Stream, what I'm starting to realize is me, the owner of the company offering a free trial, seems to have considerably less value to the person I'm talking to than you or Craig suggesting, hey, I found this cool tool, it's free, it might help for your business. So I've actually found that the third-party referral is really powerful. So I mean, I'm going to work that into mine. I know there's lots of cool tools that can help my customer base that are not in competition with what I sell. So I'm going to start infecting all my automated follow-up with, oh, hey, by the way, I just found this really cool that may apply really, really well to your bakery business. But then again, I've got super micro-targeted lists through Small Business Stream. But the idea of just finding all these cool tools and these free trials that can legitimately help my customers or my future customers, I give a guy 3 things that make his life better before he's ready to do business with me. And then all of a sudden he's ready to do business with me because he's like, gosh, if he's giving me all these other people's stuff, maybe I should look at what he does. So I just think the idea, when Craig told me about it, I'm like, hang on a second, hadn't considered. At first I was like, what are you doing, man? You're going to stress us out with free trials. And then I thought, well, hang on a second. This is really, really, really smart what he's doing. So yeah, anyone in B2B who wants to up the ante, go find a bunch of cool tools with free trials and use that as part of your follow-up value add, so you don't always feel like you're just selling them your thing.
Well, that's right. In social media, they talk about having a social media strategy. And in doing that, you can't just get banging away your own product. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about jab, 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 right hook. And the jabs are value, 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 buy my stuff. Yeah. So it's actually, so a person want to follow you or interact with you because you're actually providing something. Now, another way that you might be able to answer the question, why should I do business with you, is to start gathering together a booklet of testimonials. And one of your follow-ups could be, why do business with Craig? ? In the subject line. And you say, look, hey, that this, and this, we do this, we're really great at this, but here's a group of testimonials. This is what other people say about me. And this probably goes to your third-party referral. So rather than you saying how good you are, you actually just email out your testimonials, and straight away people are going to go, oh, well, Bill and Mary said that I had this, and this occur, and now I can spend more time at the beach or playing golf because I'm no longer having to grind out 50 phone calls. I can actually just do it through various automation tools. So using third-party referrals that you mentioned is really a cool way, and that's one of my emails. What are people saying about Matthew? ? Or what are people saying about this business? What are people saying about Velocity Selling? So that's the company that I work with. And Bob, actually, let me show you this. People say, oh, why should I work with you? And Bob goes, well, I don't know, but here's a booklet of all the testimonials that I've received over the years. You tell me why you should. And that third party is much more powerful than him showing up and throwing up all of his information.
No question. Boy, there's a lot of talk about vomit here. I hope we don't get into diarrhea, because then it's just gross.
No, that's right. We don't want that.
So follow up. I mean, to come back to the main theme, I mean, we all know we need to follow up. A good tool, no matter what it is. If you're still on a day timer, you remember those things? They actually called them day timers. They actually said on every page day timer. Great branding. They probably have an online version, but sadly, I don't think most people transition to it. But having some sort of system. My old-fashioned system was a recipe box. I had a recipe box with every day of the month and another one for every month of the year. And I wrote notes about every prospect. And it was, I guess it was portable, sort of. And then we basically turned that into an app. So having tools in place, no matter what they are, to make sure you know when to follow up and what the heck you said to them last time. Thinking about creative ways to value add with your follow-up, I think, is super critical. And never make the mistake of thinking that I've followed up long enough. If it's automated, you follow up forever. It doesn't hurt you. How far you go with a call before you decide they're dead and you don't follow up anymore person to person on the telephone is something I'd like to throw at you, Matt. What would you suggest? Some people say you call until they say no or yes. Other people say there is a time where it's just time to realize you've got a bad prospect and, you probably shouldn't have started with them in the first place. But how do you evaluate who do you drop and who do you not drop when it comes to the most expensive method of follow-up, which is picking up the phone or going to see people?
Sure. Well, look, it's we in B2B, we use needs analysis. And so really we say we work with companies like yours to improve your bottom line and raise your sales by 30%. You go, okay, cool, that sounds good. Do you mind if I ask you a few quick questions? And you ask the questions and you actually develop the relationship through those insight-based questions, through directing questions, and of course, open-ended questions. And you need to have a full suite of all of those so you can move a person and say, well, from what you've told me, I've got this, this, and this is your challenges, and this is what you've been doing so far. Then you can present, then you can offer your prescription. So throughout that process, I always like to have, is in the early conversation is it okay that at any stage you or I can say this is not appropriate? And the person says yes. Because often salespeople will try to dodge and goes, oh, well, I'm just going to go ahead and try to get my pitch out there and drive these people crazy. But often I will disqualify customers. Well, look, we have 4 qualifying factors. And they are time, temperament, technology, and capital, for example. Time, you need X amount of time to do this. Temperament, we're looking for this type of person. Technology, you need to be able to use a computer. And capital, this is the cost of the business. And I've written a report about that. I can email that to you, and here are the basics. Do you feel you qualify for any of this to be able to go ahead and earn this or do this or have this? And so in actually getting the person to say, yes, I qualify, then it creates I keep saying value, but a value-based conversation. And be very confident in saying it doesn't occur to me. Don't make absolutes. This is one thing I've learned a long time ago. Don't say absolute. You don't qualify. Mr. Jones, it doesn't occur to me that you're the right sort of person for this business, or it doesn't occur to me that you would qualify, or it doesn't occur to me you have the time, temperament, technology, or whatever it is. Are you happy for me to continue to have conversations with you via email and then move on? Because you're absolutely right. Telephone calls take time, energy. You've got to put yourself in the right mental position, all of that sort of stuff. And if you're not actually making the greatest, using your time and the greatest leverage, then you're wasting time. The day will go and you'll get no further in front. If they're not your A-class client or a B-class client, and you should know who your A and class B clients are, you should know your A, B, C class clients. Unless you're actually moving a B to an A, you can't move a B to an A, or a C to a B. You go, you know what? Sit in my autoresponders, and I'll keep putting value out there. And if you come back to me, great. If not, I got to drop it because I got better people to talk to in a loving and caring manner, of course.
And how about you, Craig? I mean, the multi-level marketing business is notoriously lazy when it comes to doing the right things versus the easy things. You know, what would you have to say in your experience about sort of the fully automated route versus the actual pick up the darn phone and make some friends, or, you know, make some friends over Facebook Messenger, whatever it may be. But why don't you share a bit about, from your industry's perspective, sort of the do's and don'ts of how to follow up and when to stop?
Well, that's a great question there, Dennis. If you think you can do everything automated, you need to be able to bring high tech and high touch together. And too many people think, and it's a pendulum. It's either it's all high tech, it's all high touch, and it swings back and forth, and they forget they got to be able to merge the two together. And if you can successfully merge the technology with actually meeting people, Blab is a great way to be able to do that. We're having live interaction with people around the world. So that works out really well. I can connect with people. They can jump into a seat. I can have a live conversation. So we're taking high tech and high touch and merging them together, which is why I'm impressed about Blab. But the faster that I connect with somebody on social media and then get on the telephone with them and make a real connection, the faster I do that, the more likely they're going to be engaged and be interested in what I have to say. Because we're just bombarded every day with tweets and Facebook posts. And when somebody takes the time to pick up the phone and make a call, that's where you make a meaningful connection.
Yeah, and I've actually found with our MLM software business, selling a $30,000 software system, that, I mean, with Small Business Dream, the second a contact goes through my form and fills it in, I get a push notification to my phone. And I actually find if I call within like 30 seconds, I almost never lose the sale if that person ultimately buys. Now, I'm not saying I make every sale that I follow up on, but if they ultimately buy software, they almost always buy it from me. And I've asked people, why? And they said, well, as soon as I talk to you, first of all, you call me back immediately. No one else even bothered. I got email autoresponders forever. You called me immediately, even though it was 9:48 at night. And I said, well, you know, why would you call so late? I said, well, why would you fill in my form so late if you weren't interested in knowing right now? So I call at any time when that buzz comes to my phone. And they've all just said, look, as soon as I talk to you, I waited for the other people, but I sort of got satisfied. I talked to someone, I learned about it, I got your proposal. And now everyone else I talked to, I was comparing to you. And one of the number one things that stuck in my head all the time was, this guy called me back immediately. No one else even cared enough to call me back. And that's enough to make a person make a $10,000 swing in their purchase price. So, I mean, it's
Absolutely.
So critical follow-up, but people don't do it. Go ahead.
There's a lot of stats that actually back up exactly what you're saying, Dennis. And any salespeople right now who have online forms, they should be following up within 5 minutes. And I've had massive resistance from sales teams. Oh, I don't want to harass people. You know what? People are actually filling out your form. They're interested right now. They're there on the computer. Call them, and that you stand above the crowd. So there's a huge drop off. Even 30 minutes, like there's a huge reverse hockey stick a drop off. Because I'm talking to Canadians, so I thought I'd use a colloquialism there. There's a huge drop off of response rates and enthusiasm and sales, because that's what we're here to do, is to promote sales. There's a huge 80% drop off. You call within 5 minutes versus you call within 30 minutes. You're behind the 8 ball. So I absolutely
30
agree
minutes
with that.
later, they filled in 3 more people's forms. They found 3 more shiny objects or squirrels.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And so they're right now. They're doing it. Hit them.
Yeah, and it seems that it's getting worse. I mean, social media and instant messenger has now made it unacceptable to call in 30 minutes. It's only acceptable to call right now, because that's when people are looking. Even in our app, we've got real-time support, and it sucks for us as a company, but it's amazing. If we take 1 minute to get back to someone on our real-time support, they're gone. They've already closed the app. They're not listening to our response. It's the world's becoming a tougher place, man. I mean, you got to follow up. You got to follow up fast.
Absolutely. And I know there's some real estate agents on the line here. I can see one of my friends. And if you get inquiry, phone them back straight away. That is, especially with real estate, because people are looking, and there's a lot of choice out there. And if you do that, then you're a trusted partner rather than just a salesperson.
Absolutely. Let's see, where do we go from here? So I think we've sort of covered follow-up. Does anyone...
Question's been thrown up for you by Solution Circ. Want to know if there's an affiliate program at Small Business Dream?
We don't actually do an affiliate program, but we do agency agreements. So we sort of have a method of assessing if you can sell enough for us to bring you on as an agent agency. We're staying away from the affiliate program, quite honestly, because in the small business world, what we found, because we started with an affiliate program, but we found when we're dealing with small business owners, they absolutely freak out and their eyes roll into the back of their head the minute you mention it or they see it on your website. So we do have agency agreements for people who want to get very serious with us, and we're more than happy to discuss that with you. But yeah, we don't have a general affiliate program to have it all over the place with nobody doing anything with it.
Really good. So you were talking about micro targeting earlier, Dennis, in your app, and that actually I think is pretty important. I get automated stuff through Twitter all the time. Hey, thanks for following me. Check out this. Or like you said earlier, do you want to make a real connection? Call me.
So what we did was we turned it on its head a little bit, and we said, well, first of all, Twitter's API is not tolerant of blasting. So you have to write all this back-end code to only send so many direct messages at a time through an automated system and space them out in order to not get caught up in Twitter's API. But we didn't think about it that way. I thought about it the other way, and I thought the only 3 people in 6 months of running my Google account that I replied to were people that actually said something personal that they gleaned from either a tweet or something on my website. So I thought, well, hang on a second. Why don't we write the series of follow-up in a way that the information we want to get out and the value we want to add and the freebies we want to offer is all there as the core of the follow-up series, and then actually bring it up in a semi-automated format. So if I've got 100 people on my curated restaurant list in Small Business Dream, and I've added them to a restaurant follow-up, all of my text is customized to restaurants, so it already feels better than something generic. But then I take the time in our interface, we show you the profile and all the previous tweets. And I got to tell you, you want to make a restaurant reply to you almost immediately, comment on the awesome picture of pizza they had, or the awesome logo they have on their website with the side of steak showing, or comment on something that makes them realize you're not a robot. I get 25% engagement on Twitter. I challenge anybody with fully automated tools to show me a number that comes within 24% of that.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen.
Well, because the other key is you got to remember, anyone that's legitimately pushing social media most likely has a virtual assistant that's doing most of the work for them. And with my virtual assistant, it's really simple. If it's a fully automated reply, I don't want to hear about it. But if it appears that it's actually customized to me, you need to get a hold of me immediately 24/7 so I can engage back immediately and personally. So again, if everyone out there that's doing heavy on Twitter, which are the people you want as your followers, is using complete automation, and you're expecting that you're going to get any traction from them, you're crazy. Sorry, you're just absolutely nuts, because your message is not even getting through. So yeah, and then the value in the follow-up, the rule of thumb is 20% selling what you sell or hinting towards what you sell, 80% valuable contact for them unrelated, and it can really, really take off.
Absolutely. Be an expert in it, and so you can develop a position of trust.
Exactly.
That's what I want out of my people, because I'm a buyer as well, and we need to understand that buyers have a system that they work to as well. And we've all developed a system where we walk into a shop, retail environment's a good example. Hi, can I help you today? No, just looking. Like, that's the first system is to lie to the salesperson. Don't worry, you'll still go to heaven if you lie to a salesperson. Right. So that's we all know that. The second part is and certainly, and this is in business world, is free consulting. So you go, oh, first of all, no, I don't want it. Second part is free consulting. So what that means is you ask 1,000 questions and don't answer any. The third part is hide. The third part is lie to the salesperson again. Look, I'm really interested. I'll call you back. Or I've got to take it to my boss. And the fourth part is hide. Send me a brochure. What's the brochure? How's the brochure going to help? So that is not an effective way to actually make a contact and follow people up. You need to be able to understand what they want and help. So and that's what and offering recommendations, like you were saying with your restaurant app. Do you know that this and this occurs? I assume that Tuesdays are your lowest time of the week. We've got a plan to help you raise your revenue on a Tuesday. So those sort of things.
Well, and let's just think about that. I mean, I know lots of salespeople that go, oh my God, if you say Tuesdays and you're wrong, they're going to hate you. No, because their brain just translates. No, Tuesday's not my slowest day. Wednesday is. But what do you have to say about that? I mean, you don't need to worry so much if you're offering legitimate value and you're wrong because Wednesdays is their slow day because they're closed on Tuesdays. It doesn't matter. You need to say what you know to be true, as close to what you know it to be true, and then the person hearing it will actually adapt it to his own circumstance. So much better than not saying or suggesting anything.
That's right. And in regards to call reluctance or follow-up reluctance, if you don't make the call, what's the chance of making a sale?
Zero.
That's right. If you make the call, what's the chance of making in a binary environment? What's the chance of actually making a sale? And if you do make the call?
Absolutely.
50%, right?
And remember, everyone who's in sales or owns a small business, you've all felt it. You're a restaurant and your best customer doesn't come in for 6 weeks and you start to get nervous that you've done something to tick them off, or you're a salesperson and you've left 14 messages for the key prospect and they're not calling you back. So then you start to go, oh my God, I must have said something wrong, and we go inwards so we don't make the last call. Only Absolutely. To find out they're gone, because we didn't make the last call and our competitor did.
Absolutely. Just in regards to 14 follow-up calls, there's something that I teach my sales teams as well that I think might put a bow on. Not put a bow on today. I'm not in charge. Craig's in charge. But one of the things that I find really valuable is know the number of calls you're going to make. We know it's a fact in business that it takes around about 7 calls to get the greatest amount of value. On about the 9th call, then you have the go negative call. And the go negative call, and this is from the way back, but I get twice as many callbacks from the go negative call than all the other ones combined. It's Matthew from ABC Corp. Hopefully you've received value over the last couple of weeks that I've been sending you emails. You saw the report on the state of restaurants in Australia, and you saw this, that, and the other. Maybe it occurs to me that growing your business is not the highest of priorities right now using this sort of tool. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it with you. All the best. Script that up. You'll get twice as many callbacks. Now, if you get 4 callbacks and you get 8 and one person goes, oh, screw you, I am interested and I don't like you. I don't care. I've got 4 extra people that have been re-engaged.
Exactly.
So script in the go negative call in your sales process. Craig's gone really negative. He's left.
Oh, did he? He died?
No, he's just walked away.
He just walked away. Zach, with this,
like,
I'm out.
I'm done.
Yeah, and I think the go negative, that's I haven't sort of heard that as a term. I think it's probably the same as we call the takeaway, but exactly. I mean, how many things I sell on the takeaway or the negative, or it's like, you know what? I just don't think it's for you. And the funny part is the guy who gets mad about it gets really mad. Well, who do you think you are to decide it's not for me? Well, hang on, You've been kind of a pain in the butt all the way along. So why do I want to do business with you, right? You're not my customer until you decide to be my customer and I decide to let you be my customer, right? You don't need jerks on your follow-up list. You don't need their money that bad because they're going to absolutely kill your brain and prevent you from being able to sell to your other people that are actually more interested in you.
Perfect.
That was my rant.
No, great. Brilliant.
I had to go fill up my coffee cup. My small business dream.
I need to get
shameless plug coffee cup.
Yeah, you should actually. And actually, that's a good point. I mean, as we're winding down the hour, I mean, let's just talk a little bit about what we're doing here. Let's reveal our secrets. Our purpose of this blab is that we are going to do it every week. And we are going to cover off some kind of a set. There we go. Fantastic. Hold that up longer so people can see it.
It is one of our books, Velocity Selling. Oh, it's fascinating. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it needs to be on your bookshelf hanging by a magic hook just over your left shoulder, and it'll be perfect. Yeah, face it, cover out. Behind.
Oh, yeah, I get a little tired. Shameless plug.
So, I mean, our purpose of this blab is to create a community of people who want legitimate help with their business problems regarding growth hacking. We will next week get into actually picking a business apart and saying, hey, if you were a such and such a business, how could you growth hack it and get your sales up fast? And we'll start picking apart at industries. We'll pick apart, big companies, little companies. And the idea here is just creating value for people so that they can do better in their business. And yes, we're going to be telling what we do for a living because that's how we make our money. But our goal is not to just sit here and hammer on you and say, buy, 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 buy. It's to give you great information, bring your friends, bring everyone you know in business because we give you value that helps to increase your business and increase your profits.
Absolutely. Fantastic. So, thank you very much, guys. This has been a great experience doing a blab with you. And I think that hopefully we can actually help people grow their business and close more sales in a shorter sales cycle. That's what we're all about, right?
Absolutely. So if anyone in the audience has any questions for the last 5 minutes, we'll just take questions. Or if anyone has something that's bugging them in their business that we could make the topic of our next week's blab, don't be shy to point it out to us. And we'd be happy to focus in on something that one of our viewers today is interested in learning about. And if not, then we'll just wrap it up.
I've got a question. How do people actually contact, because this is my first, how do people actually contact us to make suggestions, ask questions, say, hey, can you focus in on the real estate industry, or can you focus in on the florist industry or whatever? How do people actually go ahead and see this and go, you know what, I want some free consulting with these guys?
On the right-hand side, there's the place where you can actually write a text message, and they can actually be asking us stuff live throughout the conversation. And then everybody's profile is linked to their Twitter profile. So anyone who has a question of any of us that you want to approach us on your own, my recommendation would be to follow the person on Twitter so you get on their radar, and then send a direct message that we know isn't a robot, and all of us would be more than happy to engage and help with you. So yeah, Twitter direct message is sort of the easiest way to have people through Blab get a hold of you. Or you're welcome to put your email, just type your email, Matthew, into the right-hand box, and we can all do the same. But I mean, for me, I go to my Twitter profile. Bottom right, there's a little place that says send a message.
So send a message, that's where I put my email address?
Go ahead and type your email address in there, your name and email address for people who want to contact Matthew.
All right, doing that now. I've not been watching those message boxes, so I've noticed people have actually messaged me. Thank you, that's very kind of you. Oh, hey.
Yep,
sales
exactly.
guys.
Right? So that's where you can do that.
There we go. Matthew at velocityselling.com.
Most of us have our Twitter feeds go directly to our phone. We get direct message, and we got a push notification. I'd still say if you want to get me faster, DM me on Twitter. It's going to be a lot faster than you sending me an email, which I get hundreds of a day. So, DM. I don't get as many DMs a day as I get emails.
Yeah, that's very true. Actually, it becomes the standout.
That's a really interesting point, Craig. That's a really interesting point. I might have to think about that more because, I will read every DM that I get on Twitter, and I'm literally deleting 400 emails a day.
Yep.
There you go. Interesting.
Very, very, very true. And yeah, it's almost like direct mail in today's world. Direct physical mail works better than it ever has because our mailboxes aren't all cluttered with it anymore.
Yeah, right. Very cool.
Just trying to type a URL to our blog and leave that as a final thought. And Matthew, thanks for your time today. Craig, thanks for your time today. For everyone on this, it was our first one. We promise it'll get better and better. And we're here to help solve businesses' sales issues and grow their sales and revenues and make more money. So thanks, everyone, both speakers and hosts and all of our guests.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much.
All right.
See you next week.
Now.
Bye, Dennis. Thanks.